looks like we're about ready to get started. Alright, very good. Andrew, I don't know if you have the control to dial the music down a bit up there. The man of many talents up there. Good evening. Welcome to Distillery Labs' very first STEAM DE&I event. I say first because this is a bit of a social experiment. We don't really know, I guess, what you all's desire is to do another one. So we will do another one of these or like this. But it depends on how much demand you guys have for it, and it depends on you all's interest to help lead and to create the next event. So any volunteers right off the bat? You want to lead the next one? You want to help make another one happen? We'll do another vote at the end, and I think we'll get more hands up. Thanks, Lynette. Appreciate your support. Thank you. So, by the way, I'm Aaron Gigous, and while I have the unique privilege of working for OSF in Jump Innovation, I get the great opportunity to help Distillery Labs get their programs up and running. And so including in that is doing great events and connections collision events like tonight. There might be a way to get rid of that feedback. I see a tech person running at the moment. So normally I wouldn't want to get it started like so militantly right exactly on time, but some of our VIP guests have to leave pretty shortly here for another academic event, extracurricular this evening. So we want to make sure to get them some time up here. So for those of you that don't know what Distillery Labs is,
it's something conflicting.
Distillery Labs is a business incubator. It's one of 15 different innovation hubs across the state of Illinois. So from Northern Illinois University to Southern Illinois University, from Champaign-Urbana all the way to Peoria, right here. So across the state of Illinois, a lot of innovation hubs connected together. So Distillery Labs are currently building in the former ICC Thomas building. So I don't know if I have my directions correct here. I think it's more up that way. Thanks. So construction's going to be starting later this fall. The opening will be next year, and that will house the organization that we are building and creating today. So I am not by myself with doing this with Distillery Labs. I want to give recognition to Andrew Newey up there in the sound booth. He's helping record, making sure that everything gets captured tonight for the people that are not here. Because I think everybody else here in the room knows how exciting the future of Peoria is. I wish everyone could capture that vision and excitement to see what's to come. It's so great because you all are not stuck in your organizational silos. You're coming out of your silos, building partnerships like this, building partnerships together with other great people and great organizations. You're not focused on what's in it for you. You're helping other people. You're helping create opportunities for other people to flourish and succeed. And you're not apathetic or defeated about the past or present that we've all experienced and are experiencing now, but instead we are taking ownership of today for the future of our youth. So thank you all very much for coming out. And now gives me great joy and pleasure to introduce Jody Patel, the first of our three amazing speakers this evening. She has incredible passion for STEAM and the future of our youth, so much so that she founded her own company called iSTEAM Studios. Please welcome Jody Patel.
It's attached to it.
Oh, okay. Quick adjustment. There we go. Took care of it all.
Can you guys hear me?
The ringing in our ears. Oh, just gonna leave that there. Okay.
I don't think. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
No. I can talk and I'm really loud. So.
Technology.
All
right, happy. Yeah, project.
So my name is Jyoti Patel. I'm so glad to be here. Very excited. The moment I hear about STEAM and girls together, that really excites me. I will introduce myself, what I have done in the past. I brought one student with me. My student is Kiara. Come on, Kiara, here. And what I want to do is I want to give her a chance to speak first, just because she's going to leave for her academy, another event. So here is Kiara Hayward, a girl in iSTEAM who I have been coaching, and I have a pleasure doing that for 3 years. And I want to hear from her today how I have inspired her or how STEM has kept her confident. Are you ready? All right, let's go.
Hi, I'm Kiara Hayward. I'm 12 years old, and I attend iSTEAM Studios for my coding class. Today, I'll be presenting an app that I made with the team. I think this is a great idea because I want to inspire other girls to code. How does coding help? Coding has helped me with improving my logical thinking and making me see different solutions to problems. Coding has also helped me become more confident in how to interact with other technical people. What did I learn at iSTEAM Studios? At iSTEAM Studios, I've learned how to 3D print, Python coding, block coding, EV3 coding, and circuits.
EV3 for me.
Do any of you have any questions before my presentation?
You want to show them your app? Sure. So Kiara was one of our students who actually developed an app for our Mother Earth. She was one of the 5 kids who actually competed in a competition for app. And we haven't really published the app yet, but they were really great together. And we posted this app on our website, on our Facebook. So you guys can actually see it. But if you want to know more about the app, we can show you right here on our phone. So do you want to go ahead and connect? So, yeah. Okay. We don't have a screen to present, so we'll just do it the way we can. Yep. It's connecting. It's downloading the app on my phone, so you guys can actually see and you can press it. There you go. Just press it to run what you have done.
Thank you for your patience.
I know. Sorry. And the Wi-Fi is super slow here. All right, here you go. So go ahead.
So first on the app, there is a login page that way, like save your account and stuff.
So they have a starting page. You have to log in into the system. What does this app do?
Well, it spreads awareness for like planting trees and stuff. It's because like without trees, like there's like a lot of carbonation in the air, and like that could like suffocate you, and you sadly your lungs.
So deforestation was the problem. They're trying to solve that. How did you solve it?
Oh, by spreading awareness and like planting more trees is probably the best way.
So what does your app do?
Spread awareness.
Okay, so there's one cool feature in it. What it does is it actually takes your information and connects you to the people who are planting trees. So you can donate to them or different organizations, and you can put your information and you can help them. For example, if you want to plant trees in Europe, we have an organization you can connect to, and you can plant trees there. So you can donate, you can be part of that effort of reducing the deforestation. correct? All right, you want to show something here? Let's go. So what does it do first? Let's log in. I'm going to just log in here. It takes a little while, sorry. I just have to put the email that is not in there. What is the email to use? Oh, sorry. Yeah. Oh, it's now logging us in. I'm very sorry. Yeah. Oh, it did it. Awesome. So it takes you to the first page and it has what?
Well, on the first page, it has a welcome screen, and then it'll give you like some choices. It'll give you like choices. So there's a quiz, a game. You can learn about trees. You can connect with other people. It'll answer like questions like why trees, and it has a tree tracker.
Oh, so it has the tree tracker in it. How many trees are being planted? Yes.
I know you said the app's not published yet, but what is the name of the app?
Oh, it's OME.
OME, Our Mother Earth. Yeah. Our Mother Earth. So this is the effort of, she did it last year, so in August, and all the kids were 9 to 10 years old. And that's what they were trying to do. And my idea was not just to teach them, but be part of the bigger community, be part of some of the efforts that UN is doing, United Nations, and bring that concept, what they're trying to do, so that we can start at the grassroots level. And that's what Kiara was part of, and I'm super proud of her for that. I would like to clap hands for her right now. Another thing that she's doing, I hope, it just turned off, sorry. It waited for us to drive it, and because we didn't drive it for a while, it turned off, but that's okay. Go ahead and explain.
So this is an E3 robot, and you take a computer, you code it, there's like a USB that you plug in and you plug to the robot, and it'll download all that information into the robot. And you find your code on like the little screen that's right here. And then you use these buttons to click on it. And then if you press the center button, then it'll actually move. And like you can pretty much program it to do like a lot of things.
Have you guys heard about first level lead? Anybody in the room? First level lead? That's what this is used for. So our team competed this year, and we were the champions in Peoria out of 64 teams. And we actually had a group of 8 kids who went and competed, and we plan to continue that. We have been doing robotics for a long time, even before I did the iSTEAM studio. But this is one of the passions we have here. We do start at 6-year-old, so they can't create really big robots. So we have a small one. So this is a really small hub which has the sensors on it. So they come with like 2 sensors, and they can connect with the sensors and do the missions. Like for example, if I want to sort the color pieces, the red color goes on one side and the green color goes on one side. You can do that using this. They will program it, they will build it, they will learn all the mechanical concepts with this, and this is exactly what gets them excited, like something hands-on which will work, right? Okay, anything else you want to add? No? Any questions for her? Yeah? Cool.
Great job. Wow, sorry, great job, Kara.
fantastic. So thank you so much for coming and taking some time. Thank you, Jody, for bringing your students here to demonstrate. So cool, it's so exciting to see kids doing this because that is the future. Kids and technology today are going to be leading the innovations and creating the new world tomorrow. So thank you so much. I already mentioned Andrew Newey earlier, but I want to give him a second shout out because he's been involved with Distillery Labs for a long time. He was actually the one that created the phrase within Distillery Labs culture, radical diversity. So it's that passion that he has for Peoria, for Distillery Labs that helped make this event come to be. So again, wanted to give him recognition for his MIT mega brain, radical diversity. All right, so next we have in our power lineup, our second of three speakers, the newest addition to Bradley's already top 10 game design program, and who's very likely, most likely, already causing it to surge into the top 5, Lynette Ferdandes.
Hello, everyone. So I made a big, Aaron didn't tell me before how long I'd be talking for, so I made like 8 pages of notes. And now he's like, you can talk for 7 minutes. So I'm going to condense that and talk really quickly and get as much information across as I can. You can hear me, right? I don't need to use this. All right, great. That will just be too loud. Either way, so I love code. I currently teach at Bradley, that's like Aaron said. But I'm not from America. So I grew up in Hong Kong, I grew up in UAE, and I grew up in India. And I did my undergrad in coding in India. It wasn't my first choice. I wanted to do law. Then I got pneumonia for 6 months. Long story short, I was like, fine, this was my backup, I guess. Turns out it was really easy for me to do. And I couldn't understand why my peers were like, why don't you get it? It's logic. Turns out my brain actually works really well with code. And, you know, since then I'm like, if it's easy, I might as well stick with it because I still wanted to do law. But I stuck with it. I think I would have made a really good lawyer. But I stuck with it and I was like, okay. So in my undergrad, I had amazing professors. My math professors and my programming professors combined their classes, and that was like, we can make games using math. And I thought this was wicked cool. I was like, this is amazing. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. So I decided to apply to universities around the world to do my master's in game development. So I applied to 2 universities in the US, 2 in Australia, 1 in England, and the one in Rochester, New York was my first choice, and that's where I went and did my master's. I researched all the professors first, and they were all really cool, had industry experience, because I think that's really important. And so I did my master's up there, new world, move across by myself, encountered a lot of snow. It was a whole thing. Learned very quickly about lake effect snow. You just blame everything on it. But while I was there, my professors introduced me to the Game Developers Conference, which is one of the world's largest game conferences in San Francisco. And the developer conference, I learned a lot. As a programmer, you get to see what Sony and what Microsoft and Unity and all of them, they showcase a lot of the first things first, and you make amazing contacts. We all know the world is hard out there to get a job. It's all about who you know. So it's all out there. So we made amazing contacts. So I volunteered with the Game Developers Conference for 10 years straight. And that's how I entered the games industry. When I was looking for my job, they had a career fair there. And I was just giving out my resume like candy because I'm like, I need a job. And it was cool. And so a company called me up and they're like, hey, you know, we would like to schedule an interview with you. And I was like, what do you do? And they're like, we make slot machine games. I was like, I hadn't considered that, but okay, let's talk. So I interviewed. It was a really fun interview. I asked them in the interview itself, is it necessary for me to gamble to make slot machine games? And they're like, no, you're a programmer. I'm like, good, because I don't. And they hired me. So I'm like, great, you know, I was honest with them. And in the games industry, so did I learn to gamble for research? Yeah, you put $100 in and then you gamble it away into your competitor's machine. You can actually tell very quickly what their math is that they have going on. But what I did for them was take the art, the math, and the sound, put it all together and make slot machine games. So I worked in Reno, I moved to Reno for this, worked in Reno for 6 years doing this. Went to Vegas too many times and I'm now tired of Vegas because it's always for research and we always find our competitors' games. But I learned a lot. It was a lot of fun. Did I have trials? Yeah. There's an example where, being a woman in the tech industry is really hard. It is really hard. And I was on my team, there were 4 math designers, my boss, who was a Korean Australian man, and me. And I would hang out with them every now and then until I stopped because I didn't want to do Fireball anymore. And I didn't want to be part of a group that was bad mouthing their significant others. They rewarded me with not inviting me to meetings anymore because I wasn't hanging out with the boys club. So I'm like, it's hard. I'm like, okay, because I'm not doing tequila and Fireball shots with you anymore. You're inviting me to work meetings. This is interesting. Either way, I don't like being in meetings anyway. I like code. It's me and the computer, it's easy. But around that time, I got the opportunity to move to Seattle to work for an online studio that makes online slot machine games. So I said, yeah, I'm taking it because this is a toxic group. But before I left, I did have a sit down with the director and I was like, hey, good luck trying to get another woman to succeed on that boys club because it's not good. Here's me saying why, and here's me asking you to do something about it, which I learned later that they did something about it. So I'm like, great. When you have a voice, you should use it. So I moved to Seattle, loved Seattle, and I loved having, it was more progressive, more young culture there in the studio. It was a smaller company, but at the same time, similar sort of things. We were 2 female programmers and then a group of boys. While we did a lot of code, I was still looked down upon and eventually actually found out I got paid less than somebody that I had more experience in and I did more for. That's another challenge for women in the tech industry, but you should fight for it because you earned it. Always fight for what you deserve. And you always deserve way more than you think. So that being said, I was in Seattle for 6 years. I liked the games. I love games. I love making the games. I love code. It's very easy to deal with for me. But I was starting to get stagnant and I wasn't being challenged anymore. I was like, this is too easy for me. I would come to work at 11 and leave at 3:30 because this is how quickly I would get my work done. Really didn't have to be there. By the way, if you're a tech person, nobody wakes up early. It's a good plus point. We don't have to wake up early. But going in, and so last year, unfortunately, my company decided to move all the production of the games back to South Korea. So they laid us all off. And I was like, great, silver lining, this is a push I needed to actually try finding another job. So I started interviewing. That is a harrowing process because my personality is not your typical stereotype programmer, which people have in mind. So I actually started realizing, I'm like, all right, don't wear a hat, don't wear fancy earrings. I had to borrow a sweatshirt from a friend to make me look a little more nerdy on camera because I don't have sweatshirts. And it was kind of interesting. And so, but I was interviewing with a lot of generally older white men. And I think I came across as a threat to most of them because some of them were like, have you ever been a manager? And then I would never get the job because I'm like, you know I can take your job. That's why you're afraid. You know I can take your job. So it was really annoying. I would never recommend interviewing for everybody, but we always have to do it and it's annoying. And I really needed a job because I'm also an immigrant here. I needed a job to stay in the country. There were a couple of companies and right now one is going through a lot of lawsuits, Blizzard. I interviewed with Blizzard. I ended the interview 15 minutes early because this was the team that was interviewing me, also at 7:30 in the morning. I don't know. They're definitely not engineers. But they said they were on the team. They were 7:30 in the morning. My team lead and 2 of the other team members, this was the interview. And in the first couple of minutes itself, they were talking down to me. These were 3 boys who, this is called a frat boy culture out in the tech industry. They were talking down to me. And I'm like, I probably am older than all of you and have more experience, yet it's very disrespectful how you're treating me. So I didn't say that to them. I said about 15 minutes in, I said, you know what? I don't think I'm compatible for this position. If you don't mind, I'd like to end the interview and I hope you find who you're looking for. Because as much as I needed a job, I am not going to be disrespected out in the field. So I'm not going to be joining a team that's going to look down on me. That's not what you want. You need to be respected. You need to go out there and try harder. Get what you deserve, and you deserve a lot. So that being said, I was going through my interviews, and then Bradley reached out to me on LinkedIn. When the chairperson reached out to me on LinkedIn, I didn't know he was the chairperson. I thought he was just another regular HR person. So I was like, hey, cool, yeah, I'll chat to you tomorrow. I don't know about this. Then I looked him up. I was like, oh, I just said that to the chairperson. It's all right. And like, it turns out he's a really cool guy. So I'm sure he didn't mind. But I talked, we had a chat for about half hour, I want to say. And he pretty much explained a lot to me. And I said, okay, I'll interview. I'll apply. I applied. And when I interviewed, I realized this is where I fit in, because I can teach code, but my personality works well for teaching. I still love code. I still do a lot of programming, but my personality, I didn't have to change who I was to fit in where I was going. And during my interview, they had to teach a class. I had to do it over Zoom because I was in Seattle and we were still in the pandemic. The response I got from the committee, they told me, which I love this thing, that they really liked my teaching style and it was very illuminating. And I was like, I'm going to keep that word. I was like, I really like that. If I can be illuminating, that's good. So I moved here from Seattle, drove all the way. That's how I landed in Peoria. Got here July 1st last year. I love Peoria. There's a lot that I love about Peoria. In the beginning, I was like, okay, where are the places to go? There's a lot that happens in Peoria. You just have to look for it. I currently want to help make sure we're not looking for it and it's more out there. Because there's a lot of things. I go out pretty often. There's so much going on. Other than that, the department and the team that I work with right now are phenomenal. They are very respectful. They're very open. My voice is not just being heard, it is being listened to patiently, and it's actually getting results. And I really appreciate that. It's kind of eye-opening. So working in a team, which I do with the game design team at Bradley, I actually am much happier mentally, and this is really good for me. So that being said, I'm starting to work with my chairperson, and I said, hey, do y'all ever go to schools around the area, like high schools and middle schools, and tell them, hey, come join? He was like, oh yeah, every now and then. I was like, can I get in on that? Because I need girls to see that a woman can do this, and I need you to join tech. And he was like, oh yeah, I never thought about that. We should get you there. I'm like, great. So I'm working with that. We're going to try getting harder. And what I also want to do is start a series where I bring in successful women, successful female speakers, or well, actually successful speakers, they're not old white men. And so every other gender, not old white men, because we've had that. They've done success. No, I'm not doing wrong. Steve Jobs did a great job. It's fine. It's great. It works. They started it. It's now time for women to continue it. And we're going to continue it well. So I'm going to hopefully start that either this semester or get things working. We'll start it next semester. But I am all for more women in tech. And I always say, like, I'm going to say this one more time, work hard and always get what you deserve, and you deserve more than you think. But thank you.
That was perfect. 5 to 7 minutes, right on the money. Gotta love the passion and enthusiasm and the great world perspective, real world perspective that Lynette brings. So thank you so much. We have door prizes tonight, but I want to make sure that everybody got their name entered into the bucket. Can anybody find the bucket? Bucket. Who's got the bucket? Where'd the bucket go? Bucket guy. Hey, the bucket. All right, so raise your hand if you have not entered into the door prize drawing. Let's get these young ladies some slips of paper. She's got slips of paper back there. Renee does. We're getting pens. We're taking care of that expeditiously. Right, got a couple more young ladies up in the front center table here. Some Bradley students. You got a Bradley student? More Bradley students? Great. Thanks, Gara. Have a great basketball practice. All right, I think we're getting slips to everybody. All right, we're calling it audible. Just to give you a little more time to get your names in the drawing, into the drawing. Jody's going to share some of her experience, and Renee come up and speak as well. Right.
I think you can see it very well. Hi, again, back on the stage is Jody Patel. I like to talk, and you guys can tell because when Tiara was presenting, I was trying to help her out too. But my passion started, I want to talk a little bit about me after listening to Lynette. Lynette, not a competition, I'm just making it, my career in computer science started when I was like around maybe 10 years old or 12, and not very many people had heard about computer in India. I was actually fortunate that my aunt was a principal in school and they were getting computers. So when they were getting computers, they were trying to get the training done for teachers and principals, and she didn't want to go. So I'm like, yeah, I'll go. And she took me with her. And I was really fortunate to get that first insight to the computer. It used to be really big computers, and you type the code and then it goes, it gives you answer back like DOS, this operating system. That's when I started. And one incident, that was just one incident. And then I came out and I was in 7th or 8th grade, 6th, 7th grade. And since then, I just kept thinking, I want to do something with computers, but we didn't have opportunities. I used to live in a very small town, and the nearby colleges that we had didn't have computer science in it. We didn't have engineering. So if I had to do computer science, I had to actually go almost 40 kilometers, not miles, but the 40 kilometers away. So I had to get the bus, change the bus, and then change the bus again and go to the school. But I was like, I need to do that. So my dad didn't agree initially, and he was like, it's too far, you can't go. And we had a little bit of argument, and he put me in a college which was really nearby. And I went there for a day, and then I decided, no, that's not for me. That's not for me. And I cried. I really cried. And I really wanted to do something with computer science. The another thing was the neighborhood that I lived in. We didn't have any girls going to colleges, or at least for the STEM, right? And STEM was not a word at that time. There was no STEM word. The STEM word is pretty new. The STEAM is the newest word, right? So here I am, I want to go for engineering, computer science, and it's pretty far and I can't go. So one day, I actually went with my friend to a college, and I decided that I'm going to go in the college and see what they have to offer. And happens, I was again fortunate, very fortunate. There was one seat in computer science left, and I got into it. I filled up the form. My parents decided to come with me next day, put me in computer science, and I did my computer science. So what I visioned when I was sixth grader came true. And it could only happen because I got an opportunity to see the computer when I was in sixth grade. So think about if we can give these opportunities to the younger kids and help them decide what they like. It's not necessary they will like computer science, but if they don't get an opportunity to do even the things that we do, they won't even be thinking about it. So at least expose them to those things, have them learn, and that is exactly what my dream is. And that's what I want to do. I want to provide those opportunities not only to the really rich community, but all over. I see the imbalance everywhere, and we need to reduce that imbalance. So we are working with Minority Business Development Group right now, and they have a free summer camp about STEAM. If you guys want to get onto it, please go and look for Minority Business Development Center. We have a summer camp coming up. We also have a workshop on 5th of March, which is free of cost. Just enroll, register for it, and see if you can get it. And if you know anybody who is underprivileged and they need this opportunity, please tell them about this. I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jody. When I first met her and visited iSTEAM Studios, it was such a great environment for kids. But hearing that she had, scholarships available for disadvantaged youth, I was like, that's the kind of people, business people, entrepreneurs that we need in Peoria. So really great. Glad you could share that experience. All right, so we got some door prizes, and then Renee's going to come up and tell her story about CSE and tech and coding and her passion for kids and girls in coding. So I'll go ahead and draw at least 3 or 4 names. Hunter Riviere, if I said his name, Hunter, her name, oh, there we go. All right, give her a round of applause. There you go, Hunter, thank you. All right. Next name. Eric Brown, where's Eric? Eric Brown, there he is, come on up, Eric, get the bottle. We got a few more. Okay, get them all away? Yeah. Them all? Okay. How about Kylie? Is Kylie here? Kylie, all right. There you go, Eric. All right, just a few more. Kiara Haywood, she just left, right? All right.
Thank you.
Bailey Lushkina. I know Bailey. Yeah. All right. Just a few more. See who the lucky people here are. Renee Gorrell. Renee, wow. All right. Leslie Grabenstetter. Also with another great hard to pronounce last name, starts with G. All right, just oh yeah. All right, two more. Georgia Grabanowski. Grabenstetter. All right, thank you. All right, last one. It's weird that you pronounce her name different than you pronounce whatever.
Actually, I read it different. I don't know.
Shelby Albertson. Where's Shelby? There you go, Shelby. Thank you so much. All right, so our third of 3 speakers tonight, and hopefully you all have been impressed and grateful for hearing from these women. Renee is why we are here. We've been talking for I don't know how many months about doing an event, and finally, as we get past COVID and Omicron and bringing together this event, just made sense to do it here at Broadway Lounge. So thank you to Broadway Lounge for having us here this evening. For youth, for kids, for young women, young ladies and girls that we are here tonight. So Renee, without any further ado, please have the stage.
Thanks everybody for coming out tonight, and a big thanks to Aaron at Distillery Labs for adopting the diversity theme for STEAM. So thanks, Aaron. Go kind of close.
Rotate it towards you.
There you go. Is that better? Okay. My name is Renee Gorrell, and I am president and CEO of CSE Software. We came out tonight for a couple of reasons. First, to hear how STEAM is impacting the world around us and for the future of work. And for all the girls that came out tonight, I want you to bear with me for a few minutes, and then I want to talk to you directly about some things you could do in STEAM. My background is in technology, so I plan to speak to the T in STEAM and what I've seen in 30 years. There have been a lot of changes, and it's accelerating. We've been blessed in Peoria to be surrounded by companies that are leaders in their industries. And as a company here, we've been challenged to be driven on the cutting edge of technology. At OSF in the 90s, we had applications running in most of their departments, sharing patient data that was replicated from the mainframe. At Caterpillar, we were building applications to build quotes for their customers before CRMs were popular. More recently, we took over their heavy equipment simulator business. And within the first year, we brought the simulation from Canada to Peoria. And that simulation development evolved into virtual reality, where we've created some pretty cool applications that will catapult us into the metaverse. Right, Andy? Where we're going. One example of how STEAM is impacting the world around us is out in our lobby tonight. It's a simulator that we built. Our mechanical engineers who came to us from Bradley University designed the hardware. Engineers at Caterpillar created the excavator that you'll get to operate if you do a demo tonight. Graphic artists created the construction environment and texturized the machine. Our physics experts added properties to the machine to make sure it operated properly in the software. Our serious game developers brought all those parts together to make it a tool, a usable training tool. Our quality assurance analysts test the simulator to make sure all the bugs are worked out before the simulator is shipped. It takes our application support teams to be available all hours of the day to make sure our customers are taken care of after the sale. Bringing all of those teams' careers together has resulted in thousands of simulators around the world to train operators safely and more efficiently. And that is only one of 20 simulators our teams have created. Speaking of those STEAM people, many are here tonight. If you're from CSE and you have helped to build or support our simulators, please raise your hand. There's a bunch of us here tonight. Now a little bit on the future of work. I mentioned earlier it's accelerating. In the early years, it felt much more linear. Today, the future feels more like a starburst. There are so many emerging technologies. It's only a matter of lining up your talents and what your passion is with the type of technology that excites you to find a career today. Okay, girls. Those of you that sat in the front, I have some questions for you. First, I want to check to make sure that you're not going to be shy on me and that your arms are working. So all the girls here tonight, if you could raise your hand and show me that you're paying attention. I'm just going to ask a few questions. Thank you. All right, the first question. Please raise your hand if you've ever heard someone tell you that you are an artist. That's good. If you've heard that before, you could be a graphic artist and you could create creatures or people that you see in games and movies at maybe PlayStation or Disney. Raise your hand if you love math. So, I used to love the math problems that you would have to write it all on the first page, and you flip it over and you get all the way down to the second page to the bottom, and you got the answer right. You know?
Geometry, not so much help.
I was not so good at geometry. So if you enjoy math, you could take physics in high school and you could learn how to apply those physics in software. Raise your hand if you like playing video games. Even though you're playing, you're learning a lot about how the games are built. You could learn how to code and help develop the next big game that all your friends are playing. Or you could build simulators for us one day. Raise your hand if you like building things or fixing things that break. There's a few like that. If you're good at that, that means you're a good problem solver. Maybe you should think about becoming an engineer one day. Robotics. You did that. All right. Many of you raised your hand when I asked those questions. And here's what I want you to remember from tonight. You are smart enough to pursue a career in technology if you want to. What it takes is being brave enough to take the first step. You might be the only girl in a computer class in your high school or college. It takes bravery to sign up. You were brave enough to come tonight, and you were brave enough to sit up in the front when I asked you to sit up here. When I went to Bradley University, I don't recall having any professors that were female, so it's really great to see one tonight. At least in my computer science department. And my classes were all filled with guys, but I didn't care. I was there for the same reason they were, and that was to get my education and to get my degree. I put together a list of resources for you. You guys have all seen one of these on your table. I started writing applications when I was in the 6th grade. So just like and I did it for fun. It was also because it was winter in Illinois. It was really cold and I wanted to stay inside. So before you leave tonight, please make sure you take that page with you. And if you're interested in one of them, let me know.
I will tell you some of the flyers.
Okay. There's flyers on iSTEAM on the table as well. Trying out one of those resources would be a great way to find out if you're interested in it. So I did some research, and the other big reason girls don't like to take the first step in STEAM is because we're afraid to fail. We think we have to be perfect. You guys ever feel like you have to be perfect? I'm here to tell you I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. As a matter of fact, I might have made some mistakes just this week, so you don't have to be perfect. If you aren't making mistakes, then you aren't trying hard enough. You aren't taking big enough risks. Please don't let the fear of failure stop you from trying. All right, CSE girls, CSE ladies, come on up here with me for a minute. So we have a group of girls here that were all brave enough to take the first step in a tech company. If you guys have any questions tonight, any of us can answer them. Just come up to one of us and ask us any question you want tonight. And now it's time to try out some of our technology. We have 3 demos ready for you in the lobby. I'd like to give the girls here a head start before anybody else starts to go out. We're here tonight to show you what a career in STEAM looks like. Let me show you who's going to demo tonight. So Emily, raise your hand, Emily. Wanda. And then we have Ellie and Georgia. Raise your hands. They brought requests to her tonight to show you how much fun it can be to play in virtual reality. So thank you for coming tonight, and please ask questions and explore what's out in the lobby. We'd love to have you. Thank you. I have a question.
Oh,
Yes, ma'am.
how do I get one of these shirts that you're wearing?
See Shelby for free shirts, girls in tech. Unlimited supply, completely free. Thank you guys thank you everyone for coming out tonight. My expectations were exceeded, hearing from each of our three wonderful women, completely different stories, fascinating and inspiring. Better, like I said, better than I had even anticipated and expected. I mentioned Andrew helps with Distillery Labs. I need to mention the nicest, most compassionate, most thoughtful, and the most highly energetic person you may ever meet that helps us with G-Beta Distillery Labs, Nate Dominichini. Let's say Dominichini. So girls, adults, everyone, if you want to start a new business, please see Nate. He will help you start your business. You want to be like Jody Patel, start your own business, get started now. He can help. Andrew through Ask the Lab, Distillery Labs can help. And I can help direct you to some great professional expert that knows more than I do. So thank you all very much for coming out. Please see Renee and others for your simulator demo in the lobby of CSE. Thank you all very much.